Firstly, this isn't a rallying call for the Labour Party, and considering how well the local woolly left have done at destroying our streets, I doubt I will ever vote Labour again. That aside, the Conservative membership are on the brink of electing a right-wing populist to be their leader, and on the back of that, Boris Johnson has every chance of becoming our next Prime Minister within weeks. And I think one of the biggest disservices happening at the moment in the British media is the lack of scrutiny of this unscrupulous human being. What is it we should think of someone who still thinks that gay people should be called bum boys, or that equal marriage is equivalent to a marriage between 3 men and a dog? Does Boris Johnson still think that black people should be called Pekingese with watermelon smiles? Why should we trust someone that was sacked once by the editor of the paper he wrote for and once by the Conservative leader? Is someone who conspired with a friend to beat up a journalist, or someone who wrote in one column that we should remain in Europe and wrote in another column that we should leave right for high office? Is he not in it for his own personal gain? This is the person that amazingly claims that he should be elected on the back of his competence, and yet senior members of the Conservative Party said the only time they were embarrassed to serve their country was when Boris Johnson was employed as Foreign Secretary. He scandalously spent 43 million on a garden bridge that never saw the light of day, used climate targets as results and was fined millions, and oversaw the licensing of Uber without conditions, which redefined stranger rape and sexual assault as something we shouldn't worry too much about. Boris Johnson is a very dangerous individual. But we are not having this conversation because the British media consider Boris Johnson to be a circus, one of the lads, a bit of a laugh. But he is somebody that would peddle racism, sexism, is serially dishonest, and he's a charlatan. We're not having this conversation because the fact is, if you are wealthy, then you can pretty much get away with anything in this country. This is a man who is likely to be elected as the UK Prime Minister in a matter of weeks, by just over 120,000 people, which is highly unrepresentative of the entire country and should be considered as a democratic, constitutional, national, political outrage.
The Times let you go after you made up a quote. Why did you make up a quote?
Worry about your character.
Let me ask you about a barefaced lie.
Cutting fire stations, cutting fire engines, cutting firefighters' posts.
Michael Howard's team, you denied to him you were having an affair. It turned out you were.
You're telling some supporters you'll do everything to avoid leaving.
You lied to the people of London in your election.
Get stuck.
It's a simple question. If you want to be Prime Minister, can the country trust you?
Well, yes.